Hello everybody and welcome to Path to Platinum, the video series where I show you and explain in detail how to get every trophy in a game leading up to that delicious platinum. I'm Matt, and today we're going to be covering the Demon's Souls Remake! This will be my first PS5 game I cover in a hopefully long list of PS5 games to go over in the future. This game was one of my absolute favorites back in the day on PS3, so I'm really excited to be reliving this experience again, and with a brand new trophy list as well, with some noticeable differences from the original. But before we jump into the video, if you guys enjoy this video and it helps you out, then please don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe, and of course hit that notification bell to support me and my channel, and I'll be sure to continue giving you guys the content you've come to expect. Also, I live stream on this channel almost every single day, so if you're hungry for more content in between guides, then please come show some support by coming over to chill with us. The more the merrier, as they say, but if not, then no worries. Now that we got that out of the way, it's time to dive deep into one of my favorite games of the past, as well as one of the most impressive launch titles to ever grace our consoles. This is Demon's Souls. Now, before we get into specifics on how to get the trophies in this game, there's a few things we need to go over to make sure you guys don't fuck up your file, and I'm going to be offering some info right now, just so that we're aware of this stuff before we actually start playing, because it's really important and it's something you need to keep in mind during your game. Firstly, always play every level in soul form. Now, this kind of sucks because if you guys wanted to co-op your way through the game, you're not really going to be able to because dying is a huge risk and it could potentially fuck up your entire run. So you're always going to want to be playing through every single level dead. So this means whenever you're alive, just make sure you kill yourself in the Nexus because you don't want to affect your world tendency in any of the levels. This is very important, and I'll explain why throughout the duration of the video. That being said, I'm also going to take the time to explain world tendency to all of you just so that we understand how it works. So, here we go. Well, since you're playing this game, I might as well explain it to you just to help you out. So the way world tendency works is when you start the game, if you look at the Archstones here, for example, Boletarian Palace, the first one, the eyeball below the Archstone, that's what neutral world tendency looks like. It'll just be the white eye. Now, that's how all the Archstones are when you start the game. They're all at neutral. Now, the way to raise world tendency is by beating a boss of the world. So if you beat every boss in one Archstone, you will reach pure white world tendency. Now, if you look at Valley of Defilement, which is on the far right, that is what pure white looks like. It's like shining, you got the little light particles coming out of it. That's pure white world tendency. I beat every boss in that world and raised it to the maximum. Now, in order to get pure black world tendency, you have to die while in human form. That will lower your world tendency. But it only counts when you're alive. So if you die in soul form, that doesn't count. Like, it won't lower the world tendency. But, well, you could beat bosses in soul form, and that raises it. But if you die in soul form, that doesn't lower it. So, you need to be alive every time you die. And if you kill yourself enough times, which is what I've been doing, if you look at the Shrine of Storms Archstone, that's what pure black world tendency looks like. It's dark as shit, and you got the red little particles around it. And that's how world tendency works. Crash course. Now, I could talk about character tendency as well, but honestly, we're not really going to be worrying too much about character tendency right now. There's still a lot we need to do throughout the run before this is even going to be important. So, I'm going to save talking about it for later in the video, but all you need to know about character tendency right now is just don't attack any NPC characters. So this means like shopkeepers or, you know, just random characters you meet throughout the world who aren't hostile. Never kill them, and just always keep that in mind and you'll be fine. Lastly, Do not consume any boss souls that you get from beating a boss. This is very important. You need almost all of them in the game for a trophy, so just don't ever use them all willy-nilly. Make sure you save them all. And I think the last important piece of information I'm going to go over is how to save scum. Now, we are going to be save scumming during this video, specifically for my run on getting the platinum. The reason for this is because save scumming actually saves you a lot of time and an entire extra playthrough. Normally, this game would take 3 playthroughs minimum to platinum, but with save scumming, it actually only takes 2, and saving yourself a 3rd playthrough, trust me, you'll be very thankful you did, because each time you beat this game, in Souls game fashion, typically, they always get harder every time you go to New Game Plus. You know, enemies have more health, they deal more damage. So, obviously, this is not something you want to be stressing about when you're simply just trying to get all the trophies in the game, so we're going to avoid playing a 3rd playthrough, and we're just going to focus on save scumming. So, to that end, I will teach you guys how to save scum. So, what you're going to want to do is go to the settings in the main home menu, and you're going to want to go to console storage. Now, here is where you'll see your save file that's usually updated regularly on its own. And what you're going to want to do is copy it to the cloud storage. Now, doing this will cause the cloud storage to not update on its own, which is a good thing, because you don't want the cloud storage to be updating regularly along with your actual file, because then this would defeat the whole purpose of being able to back up your save file. So, copy your console storage file to the cloud, and that way you will have a save in the cloud that you could always go back and save back onto your hard drive to overwrite your current file whenever you need to. And we are going to be doing this a few times. Not only that, it's nice to know how to do this, especially if you're ever not confident about something, or if you're afraid you're going to fuck something up in this game. It's really nice to know how to do this and, you know, have that extra level of assurance to know that if you did happen to fuck something up, you know, you could always back up your file. So, knowing how to do this is not only useful, but very encouraged. So, this is how you do it. And I think with that, that's all the important stuff out of the way. So now we can actually jump into the game. Now, the first thing we're going to start doing in the character creation screen, it doesn't really matter what class you pick. I went with a magician, and I would typically recommend going a spellcaster class in most of the Souls games, because being able to shoot spells and shit just makes the game easier. You don't have to struggle so hard with fighting enemies. It does make a lot of fights in the game easier, even bosses too. So you could choose that class, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. The only thing that does matter is we're going to be starting with the Providential Ring. Now, this is a brand new ring to the remake. Wasn't in the original, and you can get it in the game if you don't start with it, but it's such a huge hassle, and it's way easier to start with the ring. You'll be glad you did. Not only that, but this ring actually completely eliminates the need for the luck stat. Now, back in the original, it was actually really beneficial to put stats into luck when you were going for the platinum, because there were a bunch of trophies that had RNG involved and drop rates and stuff like that, so luck was actually really useful in the original. But in this game, we're not going to touch luck, and this ring actually makes the luck stat completely not matter, because all it does is causes enemies to drop items more often. Now, this ring's not fucking kidding about this, because almost every single time I kill an enemy, they drop something when I have this ring on. So it is amazing, and we are going to be needing to farm a couple enemies in the game for rare drops. I know, it sucks, but I'll talk more about that later. For now, start with the ring. Now, to avoid confusion, I'm actually going to go over one more thing. These are all the Archstones in the game. Now, in order from left to right, I'm going to be referring to them as World 1, World 2, World 3, etc., up to World 5. And each of these worlds have specific levels in them. So, for example, the first level in World 1, I will call World 1 Level 1, and then the next level in World 1, I will call World 1 Level 2, and so on, and that is how I will refer to the levels. So just keep that in mind if you're wondering what the fuck I'm talking about. Now, the first item we're going to actually come across when you see this blue knight up towards the top of the tower in World 1 Level 1, we are going to head not through the fog gate. We're going to come down this tower here, and we're going to cut this chain. Now, once you get to the bottom of the tower, you will be able to open a gate, which is essentially a shortcut. This body right in front of you is going to have the cling ring. That's going to be our first ring towards all rings in the game. And the chain we cut is going to reveal an item that wasn't here previously, the Jade Hair Ornament. And we are going to need that. And you don't have to do this now, but when we return to the Nexus, just speak with Stockpile Thomas once you have the Jade Ornament in your inventory. He will ask you for it. Just go ahead and say yes, because the ring he gives you for doing so is insanely useful, and you're pretty much going to be using it almost the whole game, so do that. Plus, you need it for the trophy. Now, going back up to the top of the tower, we're going to go through the fog wall this time, and you're going to notice this staircase. We're going to actually make a leap over onto the railing. Be careful when you do this, because if you fuck it up, you could die. And we're going to drop down here. This body is going to have our next ring, the Thief Ring, and we're going to be talking to Ostrava of Boletaria. This is our first NPC we're going to interact with, who is unique to this world. And we're going to have to be advancing his side quests throughout the entirety of the world, so just drop down, kill all the enemies that are around him, and he will thank you and reward you, and we need to do this to advance his side quest. Now, once we get to the first boss of the entire game, Phalanx, not including the one in the tutorial, he's going to drop a boss soul, and you actually don't need it for any spells in the game, so if you wanted to consume it, this is one of the few in the game that you actually can, without worrying about fucking up the trophy list. However, if you're interested in PvP and that sort of thing strikes your fancy, his boss soul does make one of the best PvP weapons in the game, if you want to save it for that purpose, but if not, feel free to, use it at your discretion, or don't. But this is a friendly reminder, don't ever just randomly consume a boss soul when you don't know what it's for. You need most, if not all of them in the game in order to platinum, so don't ever consume them. It's almost always a bad idea. Dude! Look how much bigger the Maiden's boobs are! They were not that big in the original. Hang on. I need to take a closer look. Ostrava is my man when it comes to this, because he helped me out real good. Look at that! They were not that big! That's crazy! Are you guys seeing this? Look at them! That's nuts! That was nutty, dude! They're huge! They're straight up bazongas! Now we're going to be starting World 1 Level 2, and you're going to notice right near the start, Ostrava has been fucking screwed over again! Oh, what else is new? But don't worry, we're going to see more of him later. Just don't worry about him for now. Now, this is going to be the second tower from furthest away from the entrance of the level. At the top of this tower, we're going to find a bow, and we are going to need this. Keep in mind, this bow takes 18 strength and 10 dexterity in order to wield, and we are going to need a bow for this purpose. So, the dragon, you would have already seen him by now in order to even get the bow. I actually bought 200 arrows to kill him. Now, the reason for this is because he's actually guarding some items that we need for the platinum in World 1 Level 1. Now, if you kill him here, he'll be gone from World 1 Level 1. So this is why we're doing this. It does take a while. As you can see, it was around roughly 130 arrows to kill him, but we did. Now that he's dead, we can return to World 1 Level 1. This is over on the bridge where he burns it. And just come off to the side path here. It is optional. You will see the other dragon here as well, but don't worry too much about him. If done correctly, he won't even kill you. He might kill you, but it is possible to get the items here before he kills you, so we're going to go ahead and loot the Flame Resistance Ring, as well as the Ring of Great Strength. I managed to nab it just before he killed me. Hell yeah. Now, once that dragon's out of the way, we're going to be returning back to World 1 Level 2. And instead of going across the bridge like we did before, we're actually going to head downstairs into the underground tunnel area, which is within the bridge. And this is how we're actually going to advance Ostrava's side quest, the second part of it anyway. You will see Ostrava one time in every level in World 1, and you will have to help him every time you see him. But instead of going forward towards the boss, we're going to head back, so this is towards the entryway within the tunnel. You can go ahead and loot the gas resistance ring along the way. That's going to be our next ring towards the trophy. And at the end of the path, you will meet Ostrava. He will thank you, typical as usual, and he'll give you a reward, and we advanced his side quest. So now he'll be in the next level. And at the end of the level, we are going to be fighting the Tower Knight. Now, this is the first boss that actually has a unique trophy attached to him. So, you do get a trophy for simply killing every boss in the game, which, you know, those are obviously story-related trophies, you can't miss them. But there is a trophy to do this battle in a certain way, so we are going to be fighting the Tower Knight without killing any of the crossbowmen that you see here. Normally, it would be nice to be able to kill them because they're hella annoying, but if you can actually do the fight without killing any of the archers, and the Tower Knight is honestly not that hard of a boss. I personally think he's the easiest boss in the game, but that's just my opinion. And this fight's pretty simple, so have at it, kill him, and you'll get your trophy. Also, you will need his boss soul for a spell, so don't fucking use it. Next up, we're going to be covering Stonefang. So this is World 2, Level 1. Now, you're going to get to this part of the level. You'll notice this fat official. You can run across the bridge there. Make sure to stick to the left. And we need to kill him because he actually drops a piece of his gear. And we will need his entire gear set for something later in the game relevant to a trophy. So just make sure you don't miss him. Further into the level, once you see these three Stonefang Flamesword guys, just continue to follow the path rather than going through the fog door, and follow it straight. You will eventually come across a lift with a switch. Press the switch to activate the lift, and use the lift in order to meet Ed the Blacksmith. And we're not going to do anything with him now, but we will need to do stuff with him later, so this is how you have access to him. Now, once you've thrown the switch to get rid of the lava in order to actually finish this level, now that the lava's gone, it'll uncover some items. One of these items is actually a ring that we're going to loot, so make sure not to forget that. And towards the end of the level, there will be another fat official guarding the last fog door in the level. He's going to drop another piece of his gear, so don't forget that. And lastly, we will be fighting Armor Spider. Now, this boss, we actually do need his boss soul in order to make 2 spells, not just 1. Now, just a word of advice, you will later on in this playthrough see me using the lava bow, which is a boss weapon that requires his soul to use. This was my mistake. I shouldn't have crafted the lava bow because we need 2 of his soul in order to platinum to make the 2 spells we need. But I wasted one of them making that bow, and as much as I love the bow and it's great, I would not recommend doing this, so don't make the same mistake as me. Even though you see me using that bow, just don't do it. It's a bad idea. Next up, we're going to be covering the World 4 Level 1. This is the Shrine of Storms. This is one of the hardest levels in the game, so just be prepared for a challenge. But we're going to come off to the side here and loot the Talisman of God. A little further into the level, you will find or happen upon this black skeleton. Now, this isn't actually relevant to any trophies, but I figured I would show you the location of the weapon I'm going to be using for the entire game. I literally use this weapon throughout my entire one. I actually end up fully upgrading it, so I just thought I'd show you guys where it is if you want to use the same weapon as me. Now, this is towards the end of the level. This is going to be the last fog door before the boss. Before actually going to fight the boss, though, we're going to come up the stairs here, and we're going to drop down to a wooden plank, which is going to lead us to the Grave Robber ring. So that's going to be our next ring. And if you follow this side path, again, just before the boss, you will happen upon a crystal lizard. Fun fact, almost all the crystal lizards in this entire world, in all of the levels, drop materials for upgrading the weapon that I'm using. So if you're interested in fully upgrading it same as me, then just make sure you don't ever miss any crystal lizards, because they are hella useful. But at the end of this path, we're going to be looting this item. It's going to be the Regenerator's Ring, so that's our next ring. And then we have the boss of the level. So with this boss, there's another unique trophy tied to him, much like the Tower Knight. We will have to kill him in a certain way. So this trophy requires us to kill this boss without actually knocking him down. Normally, if you go up to his belly and hit that blade that's sticking out of it, I'm targeting it right now. Normally, you would hit that to make him fall over, and then you can hit his head, which is his weak spot. But if you actually kill the boss without ever knocking him over, you can do this easily by using a bow or spells. Dodging his attacks can be a little tricky, but this is very doable. As you can see, he dies very quickly by just ignoring the blade in his stomach. And this is a trophy to do this. Also, you will need his boss soul to make a spell, so don't consume it. But that's going to be that one, and that's how you do that. And now we come to the online portion of our trophy list, so much to everyone's dismay, unfortunately this game has 2 online trophies, which is going to make platinuming this game in the future very fucking annoying, but we're gonna get our first online trophy out of the way. So this is to co-op a level with someone. There's a trophy to do this. I just put my soul sign right before the boss, immediately after I killed him. And I managed to get someone very quickly, and we just shot him to death once again. And that was our co-op trophy. But yeah, you are gonna have to probably co-op this game with a friend in order to boost the trophy once the player base dies. This really sucks, and I don't know why they added online trophies, but unfortunately, that's the case. Good luck, guys. Now, from this point forward, we're going to bull rush through World 2. This is World 2, Level 2. Now, if you take the left path where the minecarts are coming from, you will run into a fat official, and if you kill him, he's going to drop yet another piece of his gear. So that's 3 out of 4 pieces. You'll get the next one later, but that's that one. Now, this is going to be back at the beginning of the level where we went left down the minecart path. Instead, we're going to go down the right path now. Now, this is going to lead us to some more drop-downs, and if you follow this exact path that I take, it will lead you to our next ring, so pay close attention. Drop down exactly the same way you see me doing in the video, and you won't get lost. There's multiple ways to come down this path, so just make sure you take this way in order to not miss this. But there you go, there's the next ring. And at the very bottom of this path, just before the boss door, this is directly across from where the boss door is, you'll see some worms guarding an item here. We're going to loot it, it's going to be the Hands of God, and we will need that for a trophy later. Now we'll be tackling the boss. So the boss of this level is Flamelurker. That flame resistance ring that we looted earlier can really help you here. This boss can be a bit tough, especially if you're fighting him on by yourself. But when you defeat him, he's going to drop a very important soul that we need, the Searing Hot Soul. Now, his soul doesn't actually make any spells, but what you can do with it is bring it to Ed back in World 2 Level 1, and you will be able to get a trophy by doing that. So just make sure you don't use the boss soul, give it to Ed, and you will get a trophy. And you will also gain the ability to make boss weapons if you choose to want to make more. And now we're going to be tackling World 2 Level 3. This is going to be our first Archdemon, which is considered the final boss of a world. And the Dragon God is extremely easy, but once you get to the second harpoon, if you just come this way instead of going to finish off the boss, you will find the Master's Ring. So that's going to be your next ring. And those Hands of God we looted just before Flamelurker, this is where we're going to need them. There's actually a trophy to kill the Dragon God using the Hands of God. Now, if you're doing this like me, it's going to take forever because I didn't actually spec to be able to wield the fists, because obviously I didn't want to use them other than to get this trophy. So just keep in mind, it'll take you absolutely forever to kill him. They do almost no damage when you can't wield them properly. But you can still kill him, it just takes a while, and you're going to want to save his boss soul as well. You will need it for 3 different spells in the game. Now this is going to be in World 3, Level 1, when you're following the path in order to get to the lower levels, which you have to go this way, there's no way you can miss it. Open up this cell just to the left of the way you're supposed to go, and you will find these Iron Maidens. Open the one towards the back of the room for your next ring. Directly after the ring we just looted, if you go down literally one floor and come investigate these cells, you will find Sage Frake. Now this is an NPC that we're going to need to free for a trophy, for multiple trophies actually. Just remember where he is. We can't free him now, but we will be coming back here. One floor down from where we just were with Frake, you will find yet another NPC that we need to free. This is going to be Rydell. However, we can't actually free him until World 3 is pure white world tendency, so you will have to beat all the bosses in World 3 before we can actually free Rydell. So don't worry about him for now, just make sure you don't die to lower your world tendency, and you will be able to free him. Now, further into the level, you will get this cutscene, and you will notice this horrifying machine that is specifically designed to murderize you. There is actually a trophy tied to this machine in order to perfectly dodge all the way through the path leading up to the machine, and this is going to take some practice. You may die a few times trying to get good at this, but there is a trophy to do it. It is completely skill-based, and once you've done that, don't be afraid to turn off the machine. Don't turn it off before doing that, otherwise you'll lock yourself out of the trophy for the playthrough. And if you backtrack a little bit to where the arrows were shooting, you can actually loot the Clever Rat Ring. Now, after pulling the switch on the machine, there will be a few ways you can go. We're actually going to follow this path. This is going to lead directly to a unique enemy. Now, he's going to try and trick you, but trust me, you're going to want to kill him. Despite what he says, he actually makes the boss fight in this level insanely harder, so don't fall for his fuckery. Just murderize him. Don't have to feel bad about it. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Also, loot the key off the wall. This will be the key we need for Sage Frake. Now, on your way back down the path we took to get here, you can actually do this drop down, and at the bottom of the drop down, we're going to find a Black Phantom. Now, we do need to kill this Black Phantom. She can be pretty tricky if you don't know what you're doing, so just be careful. Don't be afraid to retreat and heal up if you need to. But we're going to finish her off. She is going to drop the Black Eye Stone, which we need for the second multiplayer trophy. I'll talk more about that later, but yeah, don't miss her. And before we fight the boss in the level, we're actually going to backtrack to Sage Frake's cell. This will take a while, but trust me, it's good to do it now rather than when the enemies respawn. And once we free Frake, he is going to return to the Nexus, which we need, and you'll also get a trophy for doing this, so that's how you get that one. If you go back to the Nexus and talk to him, you can actually trade boss souls for spells. However, we're not going to be doing this right now. Don't trade any boss souls for any spells. We're actually going to be getting all miracles in the game first. This is very important, so don't buy any spells from him that require a boss soul. And lastly is the boss of the level. Now, this boss also has a unique trophy tied to her. This is going to be the Fool's Idol. Now, her trophy actually requires you to defeat her without hitting any of her clones. Now, the way this works is once you hit her at the very beginning of the fight, she's immediately going to disappear. And once she does that, she will respawn somewhere in the room, and she'll also have clones, fakes of her. Now, in order to get this trophy, we can't hit any of the fakes. Now, the way to tell the real one from the fakes is her soul arrows are actually much brighter and thicker than the fakes are, so that's how to tell which one's the real one. Once you've deciphered which one's which, just go to town on her, make sure you're always hitting the real one, and you can get this trophy no problem. Now, after the boss, just head towards the altar where she spawned, and you will be abducted against your will. Shortly after this, go find the Archstone, and you will get the Dull Demon Soul, which we need for a spell. Now, since we've fully completed Stonefang, and we've killed the Archdemon, as well as all the other bosses, now we officially don't need to worry about this world being in pure white world tendency anymore. It does not matter. So, now what we're going to start doing every time we resurrect from beating a level or killing a boss is we're going to kill ourselves, because we are going to eventually need to put all of the worlds into pure black world tendency at least once, but we also don't want this to conflict with our white world tendency progress, so I wouldn't start going for pure black world tendency until after we've fully completed the world and achieved pure white world tendency. Again, the way to achieve pure white world is by beating 3 bosses in a world. The only exception to this is World 1 because it actually has 4 bosses, but if you beat 3 bosses, you will be at pure white, assuming you didn't die in human form. So every time you resurrect, just make sure to remember to kill yourself in Stonefang and gradually get it to pure black. Now, next up, we're going to be covering the second online trophy in the game, to invade somebody's world and kill them. Now that we got the Black Eye Stone from that Black Phantom we killed, we're going to be doing this in Latria, same level we just played, World 3, Level 1. Now, there is a chance that when you invade someone in this level, that you will become the Old Monk boss, which is the final boss of this world. Now, don't worry about it too much if this happens, because this actually still counts towards the trophy, and in fact, it could be a good thing, because when you're the Old Monk boss, you will actually have random homing soul arrows spawn and attack your enemy for you just throughout the fight. It'll automatically do it on its own, you don't need to cast it yourself, and it's a nice little bonus to actually help put pressure against your opponent, and thus make the fight easier for you to overcome. At the end of the day, you are fighting an enemy player, so depending on how knowledgeable he is about the game, this could be a very annoying trophy to get. I myself invaded 5-6 different people and died to all of them before I actually ended up getting this trophy. And you're not going to see the trophy pop during this footage, but trust me, this counts. This was exactly how I got the trophy. I just wasn't recording when this happened, and I had to use PlayStation's built-in recording system, which doesn't record the trophies actually popping, but I promise you, this does count towards the trophy, and you can get it the exact same way as me if you want to, so have at it. You may have to boost this trophy with a friend if you're playing this game much later in the future, after I made this video, because the player base could be dead. If that's the case, just have a friend playing the same time as you and try to invade him. That would also make it much easier because he could let you kill him. Also, lastly, if you do invade someone as the Old Monk and he dies before he gets to your boss room, this does not count towards the trophy. You have to be the one who delivers the killing blow. And now that we've killed ourselves successfully, now the next level we're going to do is actually World 1, Level 3, and normally we would be locked out of this level, but since we've killed an Archdemon, aka the Dragon God, now we have access to actually playing through this level. So here we go, and the first thing we're going to come across trophy relevant is going to be this Fat Official, and you have to come this way so you won't miss him, but just kill him and loot his key. Continuing further along the path, a couple things are going to happen here. We're going to run into yet another Fat Official, whom we also have to kill. And you'll also come across this locked gate. You will notice Ostrava of Boletaria screaming his head off, yelling at you to help him on the other side. So we'll just open the gate. He will come rushing through, and you will have to slay the enemies that are all chasing him. He won't actually help you for this fight, because he's a little bitch. But if you just kill them all, then you can, once you've done that, you can go over and talk to him. He was standing here for me, but sometimes he can actually be in that corner tucked away on the left there. You can actually see the opening, but once you've done that, you will have officially advanced his side quest in this level, which is very important. We need to complete his side quest for something later, but he'll give you a reward, and then that's that. Also, that Fat Official we killed over by the gate, don't forget to loot him. Now, using the key we got from the Fat Official, we're actually going to backtrack to the Tower Knight Archstone, and we're going to come back towards World 1 Level 2. There's going to be this door that we can now unlock using the key we got, and once you make your way downstairs, we'll run into yet another Fat Official, and he's going to drop another key that we're going to need, so make sure you do that. And also in one of these cells, we're actually going to unlock it and grant access to Bior the Twin Fangs. Now, just exhaust his dialogue and you will be good for his side quest, so that's all you gotta do. Now that we've done that with our new acquired ring that we got from the Fat Official, just now we're actually going to make our way into this corner. Secret door, whoa, secrets revealed. We can now open this. So, what we're going to do is we're going to come through here, and we're actually going to need, we've been gathering all the pieces to the Fat Official's armor set, and now that we have the fully completed set, Once we get to the top of this tower, you can actually loot 2 rings here. But the main reason we're up here is because we need to be wearing the completed Fat Official set. This only works if you're wearing the entire set. So this is what it looks like. And once you're at the top of the tower, where we just looted the rings, this Fat Official will actually lower a secret path for you. Go ahead and murder his ass. And once you've done that, you'll get a trophy for having, quote-unquote, saved Yuria. Now, we're going to talk to Yuria, but you need to take off the Fat Official's clothes, otherwise she'll treat you like an enemy. She won't actually turn hostile, but she won't help you either. And once you've done this, she will return to the Nexus, and she will teach you new spells, which you can learn using boss souls. Now, here's the thing. I know I said that we're going to get all miracles first, before we get all the spells in the game, and I still stand by that. However, in my file, you will see me using Firestorm a lot, and that's because it's the one spell that I learned from her before actually grabbing all the miracles for myself, because I was impatient, I couldn't wait, and I wanted to use Firestorm. Now, you can do this too, technically, if you want to copy me, but this is the most optimized route, is to wait until you have access to all miracles, get all those first, and then get spells after. So, I'm just telling you what's most optimized, but ultimately the decision is yours. Alright, and to finish off this level, we are going to be fighting the boss, the Penetrator. Now, Bior will automatically be here whether you're alive or dead. You don't have to summon him or anything like that. He'll just be here if you freed him from his cell. And the thing about Bior, he kicks this boss's ass, and he also pulls aggro quite often. He can do this entire boss fight for you, honestly. He is that powerful. And once we defeat him, which should be relatively easy, you'll get a trophy for having Bior help you through this fight. So this was mandatory in order to platinum. And we are going to get the Penetrator Soul, which is needed for 2 different spells, so we are going to have to kill him again on New Game Plus. Alright, World 1 Level 3 out of the way. Now we're going to be going to World 5 Level 1. Now, it's going to be kind of hard to tell where I am, but this is very early on in the level. I've only dropped down once, and when you do that, if you can just kind of get your bearings and follow where I go, you'll see all these lootable corpses beneath you. So we're going to do a couple drop downs here and there. Just follow my path best you can. I know it's really hard to tell in the video where I am exactly, but follow it to the best of your ability. And you will eventually come across this body, surrounded by enemies, and it'll have the Ring of Magical Dumbness. And that's going to be the only trophy-relevant item in the level for now. But now we're going to be taking on the Leechmonger boss. Now, with this boss, I actually just shot him from afar the whole way. I never got close to him. He's pretty easy, honestly. You don't need to do it this way, but this is how I chose to do it. And his boss soul is used to make a spell, so just be aware of that. Now, once we make our way to World 5 Level 2 after defeating the first level, this is actually going to be towards the back wall of the swamp, furthest to the left from the entrance. You will know you're in the right place when you see this Black Phantom marching around with a giant-ass sword. And just go ahead and loot this ring off the body, and that's going to be your next ring. Funny enough, 1 ring is all that's in this level as well. So now we're going to be tackling the boss of World 5 Level 2, which is Dirty Colossus. Again, another stupidly easy boss who I just shot to death. Whenever he shot projectiles at me, I would just roll out of the way, and it was absolutely very easy. And also, the Dirty Colossus Soul is used for a spell as well, so don't consume this one either. I can't stress this enough! I just won't shut up about it. And we're going for the hat trick here. We're actually going to just completely finish off World 5. So, the next level is going to be the Maiden Astraea boss, and we're just going to jump straight into our boss fight. Now, there's 2 ways to go, left or right. Choose the right path. You will know the right path when you see the Crystal Lizard. Run all the way to the end of the path. This will cause Garl Vinland, Maiden Astraea's bodyguard, to retreat all the way back towards her. This is good because this gives you a vantage point, as you can see in the video, to just shoot her to death. Now, this is the most, by far, convenient way to kill this boss. Now, the thing about Astraea is that she will occasionally, after taking damage, try to heal herself, but you can absolutely deal enough damage to counteract her healing. Even though she's healing, she won't be able to heal more damage than you deal. So as long as you brought enough arrows, just spam the shit out of them, and you will eventually kill her. Once you've done this, Garl Vinland will become completely docile, and he will not attack you unless you attack him. You will see me try my luck with that in a moment. I would advise you not to, but that's going to be the trophy for defeating Maiden Astraea without killing Garl. So we actually do need to do that in order to platinum, and we're going to get the Rings of Sincere Prayer for killing her, as well as her boss soul. You will need 3 of her boss soul for 3 different spells. But with save scumming, we'll only need 2. And now that we've killed Maiden Astraea, we're actually going to head back to World 5 Level 1. You'll know you're in the right area once you see the rats that can inflict plague on you. We're going to deal with them as well as this big idiot. And once we cross this bridge, you will notice a ladder that was not there before. That's because defeating 3 bosses in this level has put us to Pure White World tendency, which will grant us access to this unique weapon, a spear, which you will find at the end of the path after taking the ladder. And there's a trophy to get this weapon, so don't forget to return here and grab it. Now, with World 5 out of the way, we're going to be going back to World 3, Level 2 this time. Now, as you're making your way through the level, you will eventually come across this drop-down, and there's going to be quite a few elevators in this area. You'll know you're in the right place when you see the little glowing sparkles on the ground. And you can find this NPC locked up in one of the cages here. This is going to be Yurt, the Silent Chief. Now, if you free him, kill him. Actually, we have to kill him. There's no choice. There's a side quest later in the game that you can only do if you've killed Yurt. So we are going to need to just kill him. Benefit to this, he drops one of the coolest armor sets in the game. And he won't kill any of your NPCs in the Nexus, which he would otherwise do if you left them alive. Once we take the elevator down to this bloody swamp, you're going to want to explore this entire area, and eventually you will happen upon the Fragrant Ring. And once you've made your way to the second tower with the Dreglings praying to the statue, this will activate the second chain, which you need to do in order to beat this level, so you can't really miss this. Once the giant goopy heart thing has dropped down, you can actually make your way back to where it was, head down to the bottom floor, and cut a path to the gold mask, which you can loot, as well as the Ring of Avarice. We need both these items for trophies. And now for the boss of the level, Maneater. Now, I'm going to make him look like a little bitch, but this boss could be very difficult depending on whether or not you actually took Firestorm. If you guys didn't take Firestorm, you're going to be crazy jealous, because you can see it's pretty good on him. But, fun fact, this is actually one of the few bosses in the game whose soul you absolutely don't need for any trophies. So, if you wanted to eat his soul, you could. It's an option. So, that's mainly what I'm here to let you know. And to make you guys jealous for not taking Firestorm. And now this is going to be World 3, Level 3. So this is the Old Monks level. You will get this cutscene once you start making your way up the tower, indicating that the boss is ready to be digged. Now, once you get to the top, we're going to fight him, and his soul is mandatory and very important for trophies and getting all the spells. We actually need 3 of his soul for 3 different spells, but with save scumming, we'll only need 2. But, kill him and just make sure you do not consume his soul. Now, fun fact about this boss, if you're on online mode, you will be invaded by a player, and that boss will be a human player fighting you. But, if you can actually go to the main menu and turn off online mode, at will, at any time. It's a setting that you could just turn off and on. So, if you go to the main menu and enter offline mode, he will be an NPC who is way easier to beat than a player, so if you guys are having trouble with this boss, that's an option, just to let you know. And now that we've defeated the Old Monk, we're actually going to make our way back to World 3 Level 2, Maneater's level, and this is the first tower where we destroyed the first chain with the Dreglings praising it, and this wooden plank that you see me crossing wasn't here before. The reason why it's here now is because we have Pure White World tendency. Once we make our way to the top of the tower, you can loot this body for a key. This will be Rydel's key back in World 3 Level 1. So once we go back and talk to him, we can actually let him out of his cell. And by doing this, he will grant us a ring that we need. This is the only way to get it for the trophy. So go ahead and free him and get your Dull Rats ring. Now, with the Talisman of God and the gold mask in hand, these are items that we have looted in the past, assuming you've been following this guide to the letter. We are actually going to make our way back to World 4, Level 1, and we're going to speak with Sparkly the Crow. So the way Sparkly works is you have to stand, ideally where you see me standing in the video, and go ahead and drop the Talisman of God, and simply pause the game and exit out of the game, save and quit. What this will do is Sparkly will actually drop you a reward for giving her an item that she wanted. So, and the item we're going to get for doing that is called the Colorless Demon Soul. This is a unique soul that you can get in only very few ways, but this is one of the easier ways to get it. And we need 3 of these souls in order to get one of the miracles from St. Urbain. So, now that we dropped the Talisman of God, go ahead and drop the gold mask, do the exact same thing, save and quit out. When you load back in and loot your reward, it'll be yet another Colorless Demon Soul. So that's how you can very easily get 2 of these with very little effort. I would recommend doing it this way. Now for the last Colorless Demon Soul, we're actually going to make our way back to World 1, Level 1. And after defeating the Penetrator, you should have this world at Pure White World tendency, meaning this gate, that is normally closed, will be open. So you can actually make your way through here, and at the very end of the path, we're going to run into a unique NPC, Executioner Meralda. We're going to kill her, because it's kind of hard to avoid killing her when she's relentlessly trying to murder you. Now, note, keep in mind, by doing this, you will actually lower the world tendency back to neutral. So it's actually a good thing, because you need to lower it to pure black later. But this is around where Executioner Meralda was standing. You can actually drop down to these wooden beams, and doing so will net you your 3rd and final Colorless Demon Soul. So don't forget to grab that. Now we have all 3 that we need for the miracle. And now we'll be making our way to World 4, Level 2, and we're going to run into our friend Patches. I use the word friend loosely, but as much as we hate this guy, we're actually going to have him kick our ass straight into the pit here. Just simply approach the pit, or talk to him, whatever. And he's going to knock your ass down. Once you're down there, we're going to run into St. Urbain. Now, he is going to say he fell for the same trick. And we're actually going to murder the Black Phantom guarding the door. As you can see, he's quite the idiot. I just shot him to death, and he didn't even fight me. But once you do that and open the way out back to Patches, St. Urbain will be able to return to the Nexus. Now, this is going to be much later on in the level. You will come across this pool area with lots of slugs. Now, we're actually going to drop down into one of these pits, and you're going to see this very hard to notice cave, very narrow pathway. Now, careful, because one of those floating lights flies through here, and they explode when you get close. Very easy to be caught by surprise and be killed. But just finish off the slugs and loot your Ronin ring. That's going to be our next ring. After that, we will be taking on the Old Hero, which is the boss of the level. Now, I'm going to make him look like a bitch once again with Firestorm. This is why I really wanted to take it. But, Old Hero, I'm actually going to talk a little bit about him because he works a little weird. The thing about the Old Hero is he's blind, so he will only actually aggro to you if you attack him. Otherwise, he'll just wander around the room aimlessly. We can actually use this to our exploits, so whenever he de-aggros and starts walking around, gives us free reins to just fuck him up, aka with Firestorm. But when we do that, we're going to use his soul to get one of the best miracles in the game, so do not consume it. Now that we've done that, we're going to tackle World 4, Level 3. This is going to be our next Archdemon, and he is ridiculously easy. Now, there's a couple ways you can beat him. There's going to be tons of small versions of him flying around, and he won't actually show up for you to damage him until you kill enough of them. So just keep that in mind, and then he'll fly down real low, giving you the opportunity to fuck him up. As you can see in the footage, I used a bow. You can run to the end of this area and loot Storm Ruler, which is a sword that can fire ranged projectiles. So if you don't have a bow, you can alternatively use that, and we do need his soul for a miracle. And by this point, we can actually return to the Nexus, and we're going to speak to St. Urbain. But before we do that, actually, very important, make sure you back up your save file. So go ahead and make a manual save to the cloud. before doing this. The reason being is because we're going to speak with Urbain and use all the boss souls we've acquired thus far to purchase every single miracle in the game. By this point, you will have all the souls you need to get every miracle there is. So just buy them all up from Urbain, fucking sell him out of stock. And once you've done that, you'll get your gold trophy. It'll be great. You can diddle yourself over it. And once you've done that, very important that you backed up your save file, because we're actually going to overwrite our current file with the file that we backed up to the cloud. Make sure you do that so that we can actually get all our boss souls back. This will save you an entire playthrough of this game, so this is very important to do this, and also very easy and very convenient. I highly recommend doing it. And now, you don't be afraid to spend your boss souls willy-nilly on spells from Sage Frake and Yuria. And naturally, now that we've finished all the bosses in World 4, we're actually going to return to World 4 Level 1, and you will notice a new NPC who wasn't here before. This is Satsuki. He will only be here if we've achieved Pure White World Tendency, and he's going to tell you to go find a magic sword of sorts. So we're actually going to come back to World 4 Level 2, back where Patches kicked us down the hole, and loot the sword that he's asking for. Once you've done that, return to him and give it to him. And now, like the little bitch he is, he's actually going to try and backstab you and kill you. But we needed to do this in order to get the trophy, and it's hilarious how easily I killed him. Mind you, if you guys want to deal that much damage to him, just keep in mind that my weapon is fully upgraded by this point. So that's why I killed him so easily. And there you go. Easy peasy. This will reset the world tendency back to neutral as well, making it easier to get to pure black. And now we're going to be tackling World 1 Level 4. So this is once you get past the dragon, who Bior will make very easy for you to do. Once you get to the staircase here, you should see Ostrava. You'll notice he wasn't there for me in the footage. I have no idea what happened. I did all of Ostrava's side quests as I was supposed to, and he just randomly wasn't there for me, which totally fucked me over and made it so that I had to fight old King Doran on New Game Plus, which totally sucked. Now, if you're afraid that this will happen to you, just don't be afraid to back up your save file before you actually go into World 1 Level 4, because you may want to kill Ostrava before this happens, because he will drop the mausoleum key if you do so. You may want to kill him rather than have this bullshit happen. Otherwise, normally you should see him on the stairs like he is here for me. So this is on New Game Plus. He actually showed up this time. What a nice guy. But he will die, and he's supposed to give you the key. Now, like I said, if you just kill him outright before this scene even plays out, you can actually get the mausoleum key from him at any time. So you may want to do that if you want to avoid bullshit. Now, this will be just after we talk to Ostrava, very short distance from him to the boss, and this is going to be King Allant. He is one of the hardest bosses in the game by far, but aside from just having the skill to be able to beat him, I figure I should let you guys know about his unique move to actually drain your soul level. That's right, he can take your well-earned levels away just by grabbing you, so you may want to back up your save file before you fight him in case he completely ruins your build, but just be aware of that. And once we kill him, his boss soul is one of the most important in the game, so for the love of God, don't consume it. Now, once we've defeated Allant, a hole is going to open up in the Nexus, and the Candle Maiden will be standing in front of it. Now, just note that once you do this and defeat all bosses in the game, the Maiden actually won't offer level ups to you anymore, so just be aware of that. You'll have to hoard your money from this point forward. And even if you drop down the hole with her, you won't actually be stuck down there. There is an Archstone in which you can use to warp back to the Nexus, so don't worry about that, but just letting you guys know. Now, once we've defeated Allant, with the mausoleum key in hand from our good friend Ostrava, we can actually return to World 1 Level 1, and over where the Red-Eyed Knight is, if you remember where he was, you'll find this locked door with old King Doran. Now, he is immediately going to challenge you to test your worth. He's very docile in this stage, but once you've damaged him enough, he will be impressed, and he will allow you to take the sword that's up on the altar. Old Doran is one of the toughest NPCs to kill in the game, so just go ahead and slaughter him, and he will drop a unique ring that you can only get from him, so unfortunately we do have to kill him. Hope you're in for a fight! Now this would be a good time to back up your save file. The reason for this is because we actually need to get 2 different endings in the game. The first one we're going to need is the bad ending, which has a trophy directly tied to it. So we're going to go ahead and fight the quote-unquote final boss, one of the most pathetic last bosses I've ever seen in a video game. He's super fucking brain-dead easy. You don't have to worry about a thing. He will kick his ass. Once you've defeated him, note that he will actually drop his sword in the room, so just make sure you pick that up before you leave. Very important, we do need that sword, so don't forget it. Now, once you've actually picked it up, you're going to have 2 options in front of you. So in order to get the bad ending, the Maiden's going to show up once you approach the light, and she's going to say to just leave and go back to the Nexus. We're going to ignore her, and we're going to fucking murder her, and step on her head, sploosh! And it's going to be satisfying as fuck. Just kidding, we like the Maiden. It was actually really sad. But we do need to do this in order for the trophy, so unfortunately there's no avoiding it. Now the bad thing about this is killing her, you won't actually get her soul, and we need her soul to get all spells in the game, which is why we backed up our save files. So just go ahead and overwrite your file once you got the trophy for the bad ending, and you should be good. Again, if you need to be reminded on how to back up save files, skip back to the beginning of the video where I explained it. Now that we got the bad ending, all that's left to do is a few things before we actually jump into New Game Plus. Note that killing Allant like we just did and ending the game will actually forcefully put you into New Game Plus against your will. So we don't want to kill Allant until we're actually ready to go to New Game Plus. And before we do that, there's some things we need to do before we end our first playthrough. So now I'm going to explain character tendency to you guys, because it's important for the platinum. Okay, you know what? Since I explained world tendency, I might as well explain character tendency to you too. So character tendency is actually separate from world tendency. What character tendency does is, when I was just fighting Satsuki just now, he's a named Black Phantom. He's a unique NPC who will only spawn in the world when the world is pure black tendency. If you kill him, you gain a shit ton of pure white character tendency, which is unique to your character. Now, every single Archstone has a unique Black Phantom that you can kill, just like Satsuki, but they'll only spawn when the world is pure black tendency. And when you kill them, not only does the world tendency reset to neutral, see, I had pure black world on Shrine of Storms, and now it's back to neutral. When you kill the Black Phantom, it resets the world tendency back to neutral. But I gained a shit ton of character tendency. And character tendency, you need for a few things. You actually get some buffs for having it. That is character tendency in a nutshell. And to lower character tendency, you have to kill NPCs. Like the shopkeepers in the Nexus, or pretty much anyone, really, will lower it. Now that I've explained how to manipulate character tendency, what we're going to do is put ourselves into pure black character tendency. Now, in order to do this, you're going to notice me maliciously and horrifyingly murdering NPC shopkeepers in each of the worlds. Every world has one. If killing 3 isn't enough for you like it was for me, there is the Filthy Man in World 2 Level 1, and there's the Filthy Woman in World 5 Level 1. So just be mindful about those two. If you need to kill more people to put yourself in pure black, those are options. I only needed to kill 3 to go to pure black. And once we're pure black character tendency, Mephistopheles will spawn in the Nexus. She's very important for the platinum. We need to get a unique ring from her. Now, if you don't see her here for whatever reason, and you know for a fact you have pure black character tendency, just go to a random level and come back, or save and quit out. She will definitely show up. But just say yes to her mission, and she's going to ask you to kill random people. Now, this list can vary depending on which NPCs are alive for you and which ones aren't. But killing Urbain is actually really important because he drops a unique ring that we can only get from him. So, or rather, actually, I think there is an alternate way to get that ring, but killing him is the easiest way to get it, so that's what's important. she asks you to kill him anyway, so it works out. And she's going to keep asking you to kill different targets. Next, she asks you to kill Frake. So we're just going to kill him. Make sure you do whatever you need to do with these people before you murder them. Obviously. Common sense. But we're just firestorming the hell out of them. Makes these fights real fucking easy. Also note that when you kill Urbain and Frake, their followers will get pissed and you'll have to fight them too. So just be prepared for a fight. Now, you're not going to see me... Mephistopheles, she asks you to kill Patches. You'll see me fight him. But she also asks you to kill Bior. Bior was actually dead for me. The dragon killed him. So now in that case, if that happens, if the person she wants you to kill is already dead, she'll just skip over that person. The main person we need to kill under Mephistopheles' order is Yuria. Yuria should be the last person she asks you to kill. And she's the most important one, because once you kill Yuria, this is going to trigger Mephistopheles to give you the foe ring. Now, this is the only way to get this ring in the game, which is the whole reason why we needed to do this. And she's also going to try and betray you, Yurt style, but we're just going to murder her easily. And she'll drop some goodies of her own. But yeah, so that's how you do that. And you're going to want to do this before you finish your file. I would highly recommend it. And now that our character tendency is pure black, and we did what we needed to do in order to get the ring that Mephistopheles had, that was the whole point in getting in pure black character tendency. Now we don't need to be. And the thing about character tendency in general is that character tendency actually carries over to New Game Plus. Meaning, if you were to start New Game Plus right now, you would be in pure black character tendency. Now this is a bad thing. We actually need to start putting it back over to white, because we're going to need to put it to pure white character tendency eventually in order to get another ring. So now what we're going to do is start killing ourselves over and over in each of the worlds. I said this earlier that we are going to need to put each world in pure black world tendency at least once, and now is the time when we need to start doing that. Now hopefully you guys have been looting all of the Stone of Ephemeral Eyes whenever you see them. You should have like around 20 to 30 of them if you've been looting them all. But if you guys need more for whatever reason, there are a few NPCs that sell them. I know Patches sells some, and I know the Filthy Woman in World 5 sells them. So just be aware of that. Probably should have said that before I gave you blessings to kill her earlier. Hopefully you didn't. But once you get World 3 Level 2 into Pure Black World, this ring will be here only if you have it in Pure Black. So make sure you come back to the Bloody Swamp to go and loot that. Next up, you should definitely have Stonefang Pure Black by this point. It was the first world that I told you guys to start lowering, and once you do the drop downs over on the right side path, you will find Black Phantom Scurver. Now the thing about Scurver, you're going to see me cheese the hell out of him. I would not recommend doing this. He ends up falling to his death. Now, I don't know if that actually counts towards getting the character tendency for yourself. I have no idea. So, I don't know if it's like the Invasion Trophy, where you have to land the killing blow in order to get the character tendency. I don't know. I couldn't confirm this. But just make sure that when he dies, it's by your hand. Also, he drops one of the best items in the game, the Talisman of Beasts, which allows you to use both sorceries and miracles with one catalyst. It's pretty fucking great. Next up, in World 3 Level 1, if you get World 3 in Pure Black, Rydell, where he normally is, locked up in his cell, he will be a Black Phantom this time around, and he's not that hard to beat at all. He doesn't use spells or anything. He's actually pretty easy, but we are going to need to kill him in order to further put our character tendency to Pure White. This is really important because, like I said, your character tendency carries over to New Game Plus, and we need to get it to Pure White, so it's best to do this now, and this is the only way to advance your character tendency towards Pure White, is by killing these unique Black Phantoms in each of the worlds. So you only have 5 opportunities in total to do this by killing each of these NPCs. Note that killing all of them will not be enough to put you back into Pure White character tendency, which is why we're doing this now before we finish our first playthrough, because we're going to be doing this again and killing them all over again on New Game Plus in order to achieve Pure White character tendency. You can also head back to World 1 Level 1 once you've achieved Pure Black and kill the Black Phantom version of Meralda, in the exact same spot where we fought her the first time. Once you get World 4 to Pure Black, you can go to World 4 Level 1, and Satsuki will be here, except this time around he'll be a Black Phantom. Note that he aggroes to you immediately as soon as you get in the level, so just be aware of that. Don't walk up too close to where he was standing because you'll aggro the skeleton, and then you'll have to fight 2 people, which will suck. But Satsuki's honestly not that hard to beat. If you have decent poise, you can block most of his attacks pretty easily. And I would just recommend staying up his ass all the time. Don't ever give him room to breathe, because he can actually heal to full health at any time. So you want to make sure he doesn't. Other than that, he's relatively easy. And the last Black Phantom we can kill in order to manipulate character tendency is going to be Selin Vinland. She's in World 5, Level 2. This is just after the first fog gate in the level. And you will find her in the swamp here. She's a bit annoying because she can heal herself and use miracles and stuff, and you're also fighting her in the poison swamp, which is not ideal. But thankfully, she's not too aggressive, and she tends to give you a lot of opportunities to damage her, so this is doable, but can be tricky. Although killing her is quite necessary in order making character tendency pure white that much easier, and trust me, you're not going to regret having done this. And now, after we've killed every single unique Black Phantom in each world, we can now, with no regrets, finish officially our first playthrough, except this time we're going to do the good ending. So this time we're just going to actually turn around and back out of the boss room like the Maiden originally wanted you to, and doing this is going to make it so that we can actually get her soul. You will get her soul in your inventory immediately after the credits. And you'll also be thrown straight into New Game Plus. So again, just make sure you've done everything you needed to do before you start your next playthrough. Now, the main thing we're going to want to focus on during our New Game Plus playthrough is, go through the worlds as usual, but also we're going to want to put the worlds back into Pure Black once again, because killing those 5 NPCs on our first playthrough is not enough to put you into Pure White from all the way in Pure Black. So we are going to have to start putting worlds in Pure Black again and killing these NPCs once again in order to achieve Pure White character tendency. This is annoying as hell, I know, and you need a fuck ton of F-Moralize, and you need to kill yourself a ton of times. It's tedious as fuck, but we have to do it because this little bald shit gives you a fucking ring for it. Once you have pure full white character tendency, you get the ally ring just for talking to him. That's why we went through all that hell. What I would recommend doing is taking both Soul Brand and Demon Brand that we've newly acquired, and using the False King Demon Soul from Allant to create the Northern Regalia. This is one of, if not the best weapon in the game. There's a trophy to make it, so you have to do it. And you have to do this at Ed, the blacksmith specifically. Now, by this point in the game, you should be a decent way through New Game Plus. You should have been able to kill all the bosses that you still needed in order to make the last spells that you needed. So this would require you to get Yuria and Sage Frake again on New Game Plus, and then purchase whatever spells you didn't get from them on your first playthrough after getting all your newly acquired boss souls. Once you've done that, and you've acquired all spells from Frake and Yuria, then the last thing you will have left to do in the game is to farm the gold coin and the pure blade stone. Now, this is by far the most annoying thing to do in the game, and this will likely gatekeep you from your platinum because it is completely RNG based. That's right! You have to get insanely lucky in order to platinum the game. Having these items drop on such a low drop rate is an absolute mother of a fucker, and this could take several hours, I am not joking, depending on how lucky you are. But the first item we are going to need is the gold coin, which has a very low chance to drop from the fat officials. I got insanely lucky and had it drop on my live stream, and here was my reaction. I can't help myself. I got it! I got the gold coin! Yes! I don't care! I don't care if I die! I got the gold coin! Oh, hell yeah! Holy fuck! The drop rate on that shit is disgusting, and I just got so lucky! Oh my god! Once you've done that, we're going to take the gold coin to Sparkly the Crow, as we did in the past, and we're going to drop it for her. She's going to love it, and then quit out, same as before, load back in, and she will give you the Ring of Uneven Scales. This is the only way to get it. And last but certainly not least, this is the final thing we're going to have to do for the Platinum. So come back to World 4, Level 2, and you can open this secret wall to find the one and only Black Katana Skeleton. And this is the only enemy in the entire game who drops pure Bladestone. And much like the gold coin, it has a very low chance to drop. You need to get insanely lucky. And if you didn't figure it out already by now, this is why we took the Providential Ring at the beginning of the game as our starting gift. Like I said, it eliminates the need to level up luck. If you just use this ring when farming for the gold coin and the pure Bladestone, it's all you need, really. You'll find these enemies drop items every single time upon death. Kill them enough, and eventually you'll get the pure Bladestone. This was my reaction to that happening. Oh! No fucking way! Get shit! Fuck you! Oh my god! Fuck you, Demon Souls! Holy shit! Oh my god! Return to Sparkly once again, same as we did with the gold coin, and go ahead and drop the pure Bladestone for the greedy crow. She will love you for it, and go ahead, same as before, quit out, save and quit, load back into your file, loot the Ring of Longevity, and you will be granted your trophy for all rings if you followed the guide and didn't miss anything thus far. And now that we have achieved all trophies in the game, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe, and of course hit that notification bell to support me and my channel for more guides in the future. I would really appreciate it. Seriously, it really helps me out. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you guys. Don't forget to check out my other guides if you want more Platinums. And with that, I'm out. Take care, everybody, and I will definitely see you in the next one. Take it easy.